Welcome to Thursday, October 8th, 2020. As we go through the last few days of the week and into the start of the weekend, folks, it's the same old, same-o. The same pattern we basically have had for the last 3 weeks will continue for today, for Friday, and Saturday. Now, details are getting into more focus about the upcoming advertised weather pattern change we've been discussing coming late this weekend, getting a better idea of what's going to go on. It's a bit of good news, but it's also a bit of bad news, especially when it comes to the Mullen Fire. We do expect a strong front to arrive out of the Pacific Northwest through Washington and Oregon Saturday and Saturday night. And as we get into Saturday night, it'll be moving into Idaho, the Wasatch Front of Utah. Places like Jackson and Yellowstone Park Saturday night will be into rain and snow. But the front is going to end up being a fast mover. It's not going to be a Colorado low. It's going to swing through very quickly. That's going to limit precipitation. We're expecting the mountains of Wyoming and Colorado, Montana and Idaho and Utah to get a quick shot of rain and snow. However, it's not going to be enough to put the fires out. It's certainly going to help, but it's not what I would call a season-ending storm system when it comes to the wildfires. However, this front coming in may set the stage for another stronger one arriving Wednesday night and Thursday. That's a little bit of a new wrinkle. That's why we discussed yesterday that we were just not confident in the long-range forecast. And now we're seeing why I told you that as we start to see the weather patterns starting to show some changes in the longer term. But we still got a lot of questions for the last half of October, that's for sure. This is where we are today. We've got the hurricane down here in the Gulf that's going to be going this way. We also have noticed the high pressure ridge is getting flat. It's not as strong, but we have westerly air coming out of the deserts. So we're looking at really warm October conditions here along the Front Range and Rockies, as this pattern is going to basically hold through today, through Friday, and into Saturday. But going forward, you can see the trough beginning to form. We have the main trough up here. We've got this little upper level low here that's really not doing much. And you can see this is by Saturday morning how quickly the hurricane goes from here to there. If I back it up, whoops, let me go back. I'm going the wrong way. Sorry about that. Here we are. And then as we go forward, you can see the big change. Now, as we get into Sunday, the trough and the cold front is swinging right on through. This is a strong cold front. There'll be wind out ahead of it. Northwest winds behind it, bringing in much colder temperatures and high pressure building up in the eastern Pacific. As we always say in these podcasts, when you get a high pressure ridge building here, our weather gets colder and potentially wet. This little upper level low down in Mexico is not going to really do much. But notice it's not a storm that's going to set up. It's going to move really quickly. And it will bring moisture. Now, this is not a great amount of moisture, but it's certainly going to help. You can see that the mountain ranges of Washington, Oregon, Idaho, into the northern Wasatch, Wyoming's western mountains, and then the mountains of northern Colorado, southern Wyoming, will get some precipitation out of this front. It's just not going to be season ending in terms of the amount of moisture because of the speed of the front will limit the amounts of precipitation. But this is still good news. We're still going to see some rain and snow on that Mullen Fire, the Cameron Peak Fire, and the other fires burning in Colorado and the region. We would just like to see a stronger system, a more wet, slower moving storm system. You can see that the precipitation is heavy here, pretty heavy here, but every time these fronts cross mountain ranges, they lose moisture. There's just moisture lost every time they come east, and so once you get east of the Rockies, notice there's nothing left as the front goes through. But these fronts in October coming in from the northwest tend to sometimes overperform with precipitation. We'll have to see what happens. Now, as we get into Tuesday, notice here's the front. It's all the way in the Great Lakes. It is gone. And we've got high pressure building back in along the west coast. So we go to a westerly flow here. So Monday, while cooler, really won't be all that bad. And Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to have a warm up. But we've got another low here. We got a very fast moving jet stream coming along here, which makes things unstable. And look at this, by Thursday, high pressure builds, we get a big dip. This allows colder air, the northerly flow. Look at this northerly flow. It's coming all the way from up here. So the source region for the air for Wednesday night into Thursday could be a whole lot colder, and there will be some precipitation with this. So this is a new wrinkle for Wednesday night and Thursday. So we may have not one, but two fronts coming here over the next 5 to 7 days, which is certainly a major departure from the high pressure dominated weather that we've had here lately. I want to show you the difference between the computer models. If we were to go and take a look at what happens when we talk about whether or not we have high confidence in the forecast or not, I want to show you a little bit about what we look at when we look at these different model suites. So what I'm showing you is the European model for Thursday, showing that cold air coming in, another strong cold front, another big drop in temperature, and some rain and snow showers. That is what the European model says for Thursday. This is what the Canadian model says for Thursday. The Canadian is a much stronger Utah-Colorado storm. That would be much more potent. Then there's the American model that just shows a low over the upper Great Lakes and really just a cool northwest flow and probably no precipitation. So we have a forecast of no precipitation and not that cold. We have a forecast of what could be quite a bit of precipitation and a lot colder. Then we have another forecast of a lot colder and a little bit of precipitation. So we have really 3 different scenarios depending on what computer model you look at. And as I always tell folks, whatever app you use on your phone or website you go to for automated forecast, this is why you get a big difference between the forecasts based on what computer model they decide to use to make their forecast with. The European, the Canadian, the American. Now those may not look like big differences, but they really are in terms of what our weather will end up being like with this second cold front. So we'll spend some time tomorrow with that second cold front towards the middle of next week and see whether or not it ends up being stronger than the one coming in Sunday and Monday. A quick update of La Nina. Wow, is it getting established? Look at the width and breadth of this La Nina now going all the way across all of the Pacific now here. We've also started to see some cooling waters up here in the North Pacific. That's a little bit of a new wrinkle. But folks, La Nina is here as we've been talking since spring. And it's really had a big impact on our weather when it comes to the drought and the dryness in the western United States. And with it that robust, it's going to be hanging on through at least the first half of the winter season. Also, want to show you something else. This is something we start to pay attention to this time of year. This is a snow cover map for Asia and Europe. Most importantly, I want to show you that up in the northern reaches of Siberia, snow cover now is beginning to build. Now, just a week or so ago, there really wasn't very much. Why is this important? Because, here's Alaska for reference. When we start to build snow cover up here in Siberia, and we start to see the ice and the snow cover from the changing seasons getting going, a lot of our source region for the really cold air we get in the winter is up here. Comes over here, comes down, and into North America. So when we start to build the snow cover up here, we start to develop the really cold air masses that get us later on in the season. So we're starting to build the snow cover in northern Siberia. That's going to make colder air build in those higher latitudes, which means, yes, this really warm summer-like weather is going to end sometime, as the writing is on the wall when we take a look at things in those higher latitudes. We'll talk to you on Friday. Have a good Thursday.